Real frauds don't stay up at night wondering if they're frauds. They sleep perfectly fine. But you're overworking, over-preparing, double-checking everything because you're terrified someone's gonna see through you. And the worst part? The better you get, the worse it feels. Every new level just means a higher place to fall from. This isn't insecurity, this is a survival pattern, and it's costing you more than just peace of mind. It's costing you the ability to actually live inside your own success. Let me show you where this started and why it won't stop until you see it.
You know the feeling. Someone compliments your work, and instead of saying thank you, you hear yourself say, "Oh, I just got lucky," or "It wasn't that hard," or "Anyone could have done it." You finish a project, and instead of celebrating, you're already scanning for what you missed, what you could have done better, what mistake is hiding in there waiting to humiliate you. You get promoted, and your first thought isn't pride, it's panic. Now there's more to lose. Now the fall will be harder. You prepare for meetings like you're defending a thesis. You rehearse casual conversations. You stay late, arrive early, work weekends, not because the work demands it, but because rest feels like evidence. Evidence that you're not really as capable as they think, that you're coasting, that you're faking it. And here's the pattern you're stuck in. You succeed at something, but instead of letting that success land, you immediately explain it away. Timing, luck, other people's help, a generous grading curve, anything except your actual competence. So the win doesn't count. It doesn't update your internal scoreboard. And because it doesn't count, you have to prove yourself all over again, which means more work, more pressure, more exhaustion. You achieve, but you never arrive, and the cycle just repeats forever. But here's what that cycle is actually stealing from you. It's not just confidence, it's not just peace of mind, it's the ability to be present in your own life. You can't enjoy your wins because you're too busy bracing for exposure. You can't rest because rest feels like slipping. You can't celebrate because celebration feels premature, arrogant, dangerous. And the cruelest part? The better you get, the more evidence you create that you're fooling people. Every new achievement is just a higher tightrope. Every compliment is just another person you've tricked. You're working harder than anyone around you and feeling like the least deserving person in the room. That's not humility, that's exhausting, and it's stealing the life you've actually earned. But here's what's actually happening, and this is the part that changes everything if you let it sink in. Real frauds don't feel like frauds. People who are actually unqualified, who actually don't belong, who actually are winging it without the skills to back it up, they're not lying awake at 3 in the morning wondering if they're good enough. They're not obsessing over every detail. They're not paralyzed by the fear of being found out. You know why? Because they don't have the self-awareness to question themselves in the first place. The Dunning-Kruger effect works both ways. Incompetent people overestimate their abilities, but competent people, they underestimate theirs. They see all the complexity, all the nuance, all the things they don't know yet. And that awareness, that ability to see your own limitations, feels like proof that you're not good enough, but it's actually proof that you are. Let that sit for a second. The fact that you feel like a fraud is evidence of competence, not incompetence, because you're aware enough to see what you don't know. You're skilled enough to recognize mastery when you see it and realize you're not there yet. And you care enough about the work to be terrified of doing it badly. Frauds don't care. You do. And that caring, that fear, that relentless self-scrutiny, it's not a flaw in your character, it's a defense mechanism. And it's been protecting you from something for a very long time. So let's go back. Let's go back to where this pattern was born. Because imposter syndrome doesn't just appear out of nowhere in adulthood. It has roots, and those roots were planted early, quietly, often by people who had no idea what they were doing.
There are 2 types of households that create this feeling. I'll tell you the second one in a moment, but first, the obvious one, the high-pressure environment. Maybe you grew up in a home where love felt conditional, where affection wasn't freely given but earned, where your value was tied to your performance. Good grades, awards, achievements, those were celebrated. But you, the person underneath the accomplishments, that part didn't seem to matter as much. So you learned early that your worth was something you had to prove again and again. It was never a given, it was always on trial. And every success was just temporary relief, not lasting validation, because the next test was always coming. In homes like this, children learn that love is transactional, that their existence isn't enough, that they have to justify taking up space. And that belief doesn't go away when you grow up. It just gets more sophisticated. Now you're not trying to earn your parents' approval, you're trying to earn your boss's approval, your colleagues' respect, the world's permission to exist. And no amount of success will ever feel like enough, because the original wound wasn't about achievement, it was about belonging. You're trying to accomplish your way into unconditional love, and it doesn't work. But here's the second type of household, and this one surprises people. The overpraising household. The one where you were told you were special, gifted, brilliant, destined for greatness, where every drawing went on the fridge, where every small success was treated like a miracle. Sounds nice, right? Sounds like the opposite of a problem. But here's what happens. When a child is constantly told they're exceptional without having to work for it, they start to internalize a terrifying belief that their worth is tied to being special, not to effort, not to growth, not to learning, just to being naturally better than everyone else. And the moment they encounter something difficult, something that doesn't come easily, it shatters the illusion. Suddenly, they're not special. Suddenly, they're average. Suddenly, they're a fraud.
These kids grow into adults who are terrified of being found out as ordinary, because ordinary, in their world, equals worthless. So they avoid challenges, they quit before they fail, or they overwork themselves into exhaustion, trying to maintain the illusion of effortless brilliance. Because if people see them struggling, if people see them fail, the mask falls off, and underneath, they're convinced, is nothing special at all, just someone who tricked everyone into thinking they mattered. So whether you grew up in the high-pressure household or the overpraising one, the result is the same. You learned that your value is fragile, that it can be taken away, that it has to be constantly defended. And imposter syndrome is the armor you built to survive that belief. Now let's talk about how this operates in adulthood, because once the pattern is set, it doesn't just sit quietly in the background. It runs your life in ways you don't even notice. First, it makes you risk-averse. You avoid opportunities that feel too big because failure would confirm what you already fear, that you're not actually capable. So you play small. You stay in roles you've mastered. You don't apply for the promotion. You don't pitch the idea. You don't put yourself out there. Not because you're lazy, because you're protecting yourself from the unbearable pain of being exposed. Second, it makes you allergic to feedback. Constructive criticism, even when it's helpful, feels like an attack, because it's not just feedback on your work, it's confirmation that you were right all along, that you don't belong. So you either defend yourself, over-explain, or collapse into shame. You can't use feedback to grow, because feedback feels like evidence of fraud.
Third, and this one's subtle, it makes you attribute your success to everything except yourself. Luck, timing, other people. The project was easy, the bar was low. Anything except your actual competence. Psychologists call this external attribution, and it's a defense mechanism. Because if you admit that you succeeded because of your skills, because of your effort, because of who you are, then failure becomes personal. Failure means you're not enough. But if success is always luck, then failure doesn't mean anything about you. It just means the luck ran out. It's safer, it's less painful, but it's also a trap. Because if nothing you achieve counts as evidence, then nothing you achieve will ever make you feel secure. Here's where it gets more interesting. Imposter syndrome doesn't affect everyone equally. It disproportionately affects high achievers, people who are actually good at what they do. You know why? Because the more competent you become, the more you're surrounded by other competent people. And when you're surrounded by excellence, it's easy to forget that you're part of that group. You only see what they know that you don't. You only see where they're better. You compare your rough draft to their final product, your internal mess to their polished exterior. And every comparison confirms the lie that you're the only one who doesn't belong. But here's the truth. Everyone feels this. The people you admire, the ones who seem effortlessly confident, they're managing the same voice. They've just learned to keep walking in spite of it, or they've learned to hide it better. But it's there, because competence and self-doubt aren't opposites. They're companions. The more you know, the more you realize how much you don't know. And that gap, that awareness, it feels like inadequacy, but it's actually wisdom. So, why does this matter? Why does it matter that you understand where this came from and how it works? Because the cost of imposter syndrome isn't just internal. It's not just that you can't enjoy your success. It's that you're teaching the world how to treat you. When you constantly deflect praise, people stop giving it. When you downplay your contributions, people start believing you. When you don't advocate for yourself because you don't feel like you deserve it, you get overlooked. And over time, the way you see yourself becomes the way others see you. Not because they're right, but because you've trained them.
And there's an even deeper cost. You're passing this pattern on to your kids, to your mentees, to anyone watching how you move through the world. When they see you achieve something incredible and immediately minimize it, they learn that success isn't safe to claim. When they see you work yourself into exhaustion to prove your worth, they learn that rest is dangerous. When they see you flinch at compliments, they learn that being seen is something to fear. You're not just carrying this wound, you're teaching the next generation to carry it too. But here's where something starts to shift. Once you see where this came from, once you trace the pattern back to its origin, it stops being a truth about you and starts being a story you were told, a story you believed because you were too young to question it, a story that made sense in the world you grew up in, but doesn't fit the world you're living in now. You're not a child trying to earn conditional love anymore. You're an adult with evidence, decades of evidence of showing up, of learning, of contributing, of surviving things that should have broken you and somehow keeping going. That's not luck. That's not an accident. That's you. And the voice that tells you you're a fraud, it's not telling you the truth. It's trying to protect you from rejection by rejecting yourself first. It's trying to keep you safe by keeping you small. And it worked. For a long time, it worked. But it's not working anymore. Because you're here, because you're listening, because some part of you knows there's another way to live. Now let's be clear, this isn't going to disappear overnight. You're not going to wake up tomorrow and suddenly feel like you deserve everything you've built. That's not how this works. The voice will still be there. The doubt will still show up. But what changes is your relationship to it. You stop believing it's telling you the truth. You stop treating it like a fact that needs to be managed. And you start seeing it for what it actually is, an old defense mechanism doing its best to keep you safe in a world that no longer exists. So here's the first step, and it's not what you think. It's not affirmations. It's not believing in yourself. It's not forcing confidence you don't feel. It's this. The next time you succeed at something, anything, big or small, and that voice shows up to explain it away, to credit luck or timing or someone else, pause. Just pause and say to yourself, out loud if you can, what if I'm wrong? What if I actually did earn this? You don't have to believe it. You don't have to feel it. You just have to entertain the possibility. Because the voice is so automatic, so convincing, so embedded in how you see yourself that you've stopped questioning it. But what if it's lying? What if the story you've been telling yourself about not being enough is just that, a story, not a fact, not the truth, just something you learned to believe?
And here's the reframe that actually matters. The goal isn't to fix yourself. The goal isn't to become so confident that you never doubt yourself again. The goal is to stop letting that doubt run your life, to stop outsourcing your sense of worth to external validation, to stop waiting for permission to claim what you've already earned. You don't have to silence the voice. You just have to stop obeying it. Because here's what actually changes when you do this work. You start taking risks you would have avoided. You start speaking up in rooms you would have stayed quiet in. You start asking for what you deserve instead of hoping someone notices.
You start celebrating your wins instead of dismissing them. And slowly, very slowly, the gap between who you are and who you're pretending to be starts to close. Not because you became someone new, but because you stopped abandoning the person you've always been. And maybe, just maybe, you'll start to see what everyone else has been seeing all along, that you're not faking it, that you never were, that the only fraud here was the voice convincing you otherwise. So the next time someone tells you you're good at what you do, try something radical. Say thank you. Not, I got lucky, not, it was nothing. Just thank you. And notice how uncomfortable that feels. Notice the voice that screams it's not true. And then say thank you anyway. Because that discomfort, that's not proof you're wrong. That's proof you're starting to challenge a story that's been running you for years. And every time you challenge it, it loses a little more power. Not all at once, but enough to keep going. Because you've been carrying this for long enough. You've been working twice as hard to feel half as worthy. You've been shrinking to make others comfortable, apologizing for taking up space, earning and re-earning permission to exist, and it's exhausting. It's exhausting pretending you don't deserve the life you've built. It's exhausting waiting to be found out. It's exhausting living like success is something that will be taken away the moment you relax. But here's the truth. No one's coming to take it away. No one's going to show up and say you don't belong. The only person still questioning whether you deserve to be here is you. And once you see that, once you really see it, everything changes. Not because the doubt disappears, but because you finally stop letting it decide.
And once you understand why you feel like a fraud, even when you're not, something else starts to become visible. Another pattern, one that's been running just as long, just as quietly. The pattern of who you let into your life, who you choose, who you stay with even when it hurts. Because the same fear that makes you doubt your success makes you tolerate people who confirm your worst beliefs about yourself. The same wound that tells you you're not enough makes you choose people who treat you like you're not enough. And until you see that connection, you'll keep wondering why you keep ending up in the same relationships with different faces. We'll explore that next time. If this resonated, if you're starting to see the patterns running under the surface, subscribe, because we're just getting started. This is the unlearning. Stop fixing, start understanding.